Hello and welcome to Create Crochet with me, Rebecca. I hope you're all well. So this is the second video of how to crochet, and in today's video we're going to do single crochet, which is the US term, or a double crochet, which is the UK term. In the last video we did everything there was to know about chaining. Feel free to click on the link right now if you didn't catch that video. So double crochet, which I'm going to use the UK term, double crochet, you would use for things that are going to keep you warm because it's the smallest of the stitches. So, or teddy bears. Now I've done this example with a larger than necessary hook, so it has got the gaps in it. If you are following your yarn ball requests, then it will be a lot tighter than this. I think this ball of yarn requires me to use a size 4 hook, and I used a size 5mm hook. Size 5mm hook looks like this. So let's go ahead and do it. The first thing that you'll want to go to do is chain up, make a slip knot. Again, it covered it in the chain video, so I'm not going to show you how to do that because we've already done it. And we're going to chain 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's what your 10 chain should look like. Now chain an extra 1. So you'll have 11 eventually. All nice and neat and tidy and the same size. Now the reason why you chain an extra 1 is when we do the double crochet, you will be coming into the second chain from the hook, and this first chain counts as your first double crochet. And that will be the same each time you go up the next level. So that counts as your first one. So effectively, when we get to the first chain here, we will have counted 11. Even though we will only be actually physically making 10, this first one, as I said, counts as your first single crochet or double crochet, whatever your terminology is. Now, as we said in the chain video, you're going to catch up the top 2 loops of your chain. You're going to go yarn over and bring through the chain, like so. So now you've got 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and bring through both. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way along. If you're not sure or you didn't catch it that time, just taking some more yarn out, don't worry, we'll keep going. So you have 1 loop on your hook. You're going to go through the top 2 loops of the chain, yarn over and bring through the chain. So you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and bring through, so you have 1 loop on your hook. Into the next chain, picking up the top 2 loops and bring through your yarn, yarn over and bring through 1 and 2. All the way along. If you're struggling getting it through, or you're not quite sure where you're going with the chain, please refer to my previous video and it will tell you exactly how to do working into a foundation chain, because this is what this is called, a foundation chain. So we've come all the way to the end and our work looks like that. So now we're going to chain 1 to get up to the next row. So there we go. And then we're going to turn our work, and then we're going to go into each one and the chain at the end. So we've chained one, which counts as our first double crochet. Now the stitches at the top look different to how the chain looks. Again, there are 2 loops that you need to go into unless stated by your pattern, and we will go through that. So the top of your stitches have those 2 loops there. Let me show you a bit closer. I'm not happy I've shown you that quite right. I love the sunshine today, it's beautiful. So we have one here and then one at the top. So this is your back loop and this is your front loop. For now we're going to go into both. Okay. Pull that tight. Now we don't need to go into this one because that's where our chain is coming out of. So we need to go into the next one. Same process as going through the chain. And as with the chain and holding it in these 2 fingers here, I'm holding my work with these 2 fingers as well, just to keep it steady when I put my hook through and bringing the yarn through the top of the single crochet and bringing it through. So this would be, if you were reading a pattern, row 2. So in there, round and up. So this is crocheting in rows. In a little minute I will show you crocheting in the round, but this is doing it in rows. So I've come to my last obvious double crochet, the top of my last obvious double crochet, but because we chained 1, which counted as our first double crochet of the row, we need to go into this chain. Now it can be a bit fiddly and it is worth practicing this. Through and through and chain 1. So let's move on to the next step. How to use a stitch marker. Now when I'm doing a piece of work and I'm doing a single crochet in rows, I still use a stitch marker. And what I do is, with the chain 1, let me put my hook back in and show you. With the chain 1, you have this loop here, right there, and that is the top of our chain. So that is where I'm going to put my stitch marker. So I know when I come back here, that is where my last double crochet or single crochet needs to sit in, and I will do that for both that end and that end. Excuse me. And the reason why you do that is if you're making something that requires straight edges and you're going to see those straight edges, for example the cup cozy video that I did, you will see these edges. If you don't go into the chain space here, the edges will be wibbly. They won't be ruler straight and it will be obvious. So you put the stitch holder there so you know where you're going to last. Because the top of the double crochet is obvious, it has those 2 loops there. To come into this chain you just have this loop on the end, so it's not drastically obvious where you're going. So I'm going to remove that now because we're going to have a bit of a play. What I'm going to show you now is how to increase and how to decrease. So pretend you've got a massive piece of work and you need to reduce the size of the stitches, reduce the amount of stitches. Here is how to decrease. Decrease is to reduce the amount of stitches. So we're going to double crochet into this one, and then the pattern's going to tell us to decrease. So we're going to go in there and pick up the loop. Now ordinarily what we would be doing is finishing this stitch off. However, what we're going to do is go into the leaving these loops on, we're going to go into the next double crochet, pick up the yarn and come through. So we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and bring off all 3. Let's do that again. So you're going to go in, yarn over and through as normal, but pause there and go into the next one through the top 2 loops, yarn over and pull it through, 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. So you're crocheting 2 together. That's my phone going off. I apologise. And then we just carry on double crocheting as we were before. And then into the chain. Chain 1 to get up to the next round. You always, when you're double crocheting or single crocheting, however you refer to it, you always chain 1 to get up to the next round and turn. So as you can see, we have decreased our stitches, which has changed the shape from it being a square block almost to like a banana shape going up at the end. And that's what a decrease will look like. To increase, there will be 2 separate ways of increasing. Either doing it in the middle, which will give you one effect, or at the end, which will give you another effect. If you do an increase, which is to increase the amount of stitches, at the end, your work will go into a V. If you increase in the middle of your row, it will give it a dome shape over the top. So let's do both. So the way you do an increase is you go into the first one and do a stitch. You're going to go back into that same place, in and through. So you've done 2 stitches in the top of one, and then we're going to go across, all the way across, and into this last one. Chain 1 to get to the next round and turn our work, and then we're going to do an increase again, so that's 1, and then back into the same place for 2. Like so. This piece of work is getting a bit untidy now, but oh well, it's just a practice piece. Into the top of this one, and then into this chain space here. Once you've done this a few times, you will recognise where that chain is. Chain 1 to get up to my next round and turn. So you're increasing the amount of stitches. So if we do it in the middle, so if we come along and single crochet or double crochet to the middle of our work, like so, and let's put 4 in here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 and 4, all all into the same top 2 loops of the previous row's stitch and then carry on along. Hopefully you'll see what I mean by it becomes a dome shape. Yeah, so it's lifted the work here, and that's where the 4 single crochets are. So here's how to count your work. Gosh, that sun is gorgeous today, shining on my face. So here's how to count your single crochets. They are called posts. So that would be 1 right there, and 2, and then you'll need to know how many you've put into your increase. You can either count the tops. If it was just no increase and you were just going single crochet all the way along, back and forward, the best way to count your stitches is to count the top loops. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, plus the chain is 11. If you need to count how many the increase is in the middle there, you would find where the increase is, and it's obvious because of this large hole here. Spread your work out a little bit and you can see that it has these knots here. Your best bet is to count the knots, if I'm honest. So in there we have 1, 2, 3, 4 knots there, natural increase. So that's everything there is to know about the single crochet. When to use it, how to increase, how to decrease, how to use a stitch marker so you know as a beginner to put it into the chain, so you always crochet into the chain 1 to get up to the next round. So there's another thing that I wanted to show you, so let's just cut that off. In the last video I showed you how to make a chain loop or a chain circle. In this video I'm going to show you how to do that again. So just chain, and then you come to the first chain through both loops and slip stitch to form a ring. Now you have the centre of the ring. There is another way to do this. So say if you were making a beanie hat or something like that, you don't want a hole at the top of the hat, because when you make a beanie hat you start at the crown and work your way down. There is something called a magic loop or a magic circle or an adjustable ring. Put your fingers like a gun, like so, like that. Turn them over. With your thumb you're going to grasp hold of the short end of the yarn, like so. You're going to wrap your yarn around your fingers and you're going to make a super exaggerated cross and hold the rest of the yarn with these fingers here. With your hook you're going to come under the bottom loop, over the top and grab, and as you come through, twist. Hold the knot section here and pull your fingers out and chain 1. Now I always take this tail out of the circle, it just makes life easier. And that is your adjustable loop. So let's do that all over again. You have these 2 fingers like so and your thumb is loose. Put your yarn quite near the ends of your fingers so you can make that exaggerated cross and hold it in place so it doesn't move. You don't want this piece here to move. You're going to go round and around to make that exaggerated cross. You have the top bit and then the piece underneath. With your hook, you're going to go under there, grab the top loop and come underneath, and as you come underneath, turn. When you turn, you will create a little turn in the yarn here. Grab hold of all of this section here and take your fingers out and chain 1. Now into here we're going to do 6 single crochets, so in, up and over. We've chained 1, so that counts as 1. This is our first stitch that we've done, although it's called number 2. 3, and I hold the loop in these 2 fingers here, just again to keep everything steady, in, through and there, and I'm putting all of my stitches into this space here. I think that's 6, I lost count because I was talking. So that is the amount of stitches that your pattern has asked you to put into your magic circle, but it still looks too big. Here's what you do. With this short end here, you're going to pull really firmly and you're going to end up with something like that. Before you pull it loose, it's easier to slip stitch before you pull it loose. I should have done that, I apologise, so I'm going to do it all over again. And make my magic loop on my adjustable ring and chain 1, which counts as my first single crochet. So I'm going to do my single crochet into this loop for 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Come all the way over. This will all get gathered up, but don't worry about it. Come over and slip stitch to the top of the chain 1. So you have a loop, have a ring, but it has this hole in the middle. Pull on the short piece to close it up, and you will have something that looks like that. So you can go round and single crochet into the tops of the previous round, like so, and carry on that way, and the circle will get obviously larger and larger and larger. And that's everything there is to know about the single crochet, which is the US term, or the double crochet, the UK term. I hope you've enjoyed my video, and in the next video I'm going to show you what you can do or what you can make with your skills so far. I hope to see you then, and please give my video a like if you've enjoyed it, and leave comments and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching Create Crochet. Bye!